Mother's Day had always been a bittersweet day for me. As a single mother, I gave my all to raise my daughter, Emily, after her father walked out when she was just 6. I worked double shifts at the diner, skipped meals so she could eat, and saved every spare penny for her piano lessons and school trips. She was my world, and I foolishly thought I was hers too. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. This year, Emily was married. Her husband, Ethan, was polished, corporate, and came from a family that hosted charity brunches in glass mansions. His mother, Diane, made it clear from day one that I wasn't part of their social tier. I remember at the wedding rehearsal, she smiled at me and said, "Don't worry, sweetie. You don't need to bring anything to the table. We've already said it." Still, I swallowed my pride. For Emily, I didn't want her to ever feel split between two families. So, when Mother's Day rolled around, I made my signature apple pie and brought it to Emily's house, excited to spend the afternoon together. I wore the earrings she made for me back in 8th grade, cheap little studs with her initials. They still meant more to me than gold, but the moment I stepped through the door, I felt it, that shift in the room. Her in-laws were already there. The whole dining table was set like a spread from a luxury magazine. Ethan's mom sat regally at the head sipping champagne. Emily beamed at her. "Mom," Emily said, motioning to me without moving from Diane's side. "You can sit over there." Not beside her, not even near the family. She pointed toward the corner chair, the one near the kitchen entrance, with no place setting. I quietly placed the pie on the counter and sat, pretending not to notice. Then came the gifts. Ethan presented his mom with a white velvet box. Inside was a sparkling, oversized diamond ring. "For the woman who raised the man of my dreams," Emily said, tearing up. They all clapped. Diane beamed and kissed her cheek. Next, Emily pulled out an envelope. "And this is your cruise to Santorini, first class. You deserve it, Diane." My heart paused for a second. She wasn't done. Emily turned toward me with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "And for you, Mom." She handed me a plastic bag from a discount store. I opened it slowly. A $5 detangling brush. She chuckled. "You always said your hair was wild, right?" The room didn't laugh. They didn't need to. My humiliation filled every corner. Diane glanced at me with smug pity. "That's sweet, dear." I nodded and whispered, "Thank you." But inside me, something cracked. Not from the gift, from the realization that everything I poured into my daughter had been swept under a rug of shiny jewelry and social climbing flattery. I stayed for another hour, out of politeness, but I barely touched the food. Emily didn't look at me once. That night, I drove home with the brush sitting in the passenger seat. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I walked into the study, opened a drawer, and pulled out a folder labeled Deeds. You see, I had been saving more than memories all these years. While they treated me like a second-class placeholder, they had no idea I was the silent owner of something they'd never expect. And Emily would soon learn the cost of forgetting who held her hand when no one else did. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table staring at the brush. Cheap, plastic, still in its wrapper. A slap in the face disguised as a gift. The next morning, I made a call to my lawyer, Mr. Bellamy, a kind old man who had helped me for years with every property I bought under the radar. See, while Emily and Ethan spent weekends drinking wine at Diane's country estate, I was quietly building an empire. 3 rental homes, 2 commercial properties, and one that really mattered, the lakefront house where Emily and Ethan now lived. The house they believed Ethan's father owned. Except, he didn't. I did. 10 years ago, Ethan's dad hit a nasty gambling streak, lost a fortune. I'd stepped in, bought the property for pennies, and allowed them to continue living there quietly, rent-free, as long as they kept it in the family. He never told anyone, not even his son. Until now. I told Mr. Bellamy, "It's time. File the transfer notice. I want the deed changed to my name publicly, and notify the current occupants they have 30 days to vacate unless they'd like to sign a lease. Market rate." He paused. "Are you sure, Nora? That's your daughter's house." No, Henry, I replied. That's my daughter's lesson. 2 days later, the paperwork was filed. And the fallout? Oh, it came fast! Emily called, furious. Mom, what the hell is this letter about rent? You're evicting us? No, I said calmly. I'm offering you a fair lease, or the option to move. You wouldn't dare. This is my home. No, sweetheart. It's my property. You're confusing inheritance with entitlement. She didn't speak. I continued. You gave Diane a cruise and a diamond ring. You gave me a plastic brush. Now I'm giving you perspective. You're punishing me. I'm reminding you. Ethan jumped on the line. You're just jealous of Diane. You always have been. That's why you never fit in. I almost laughed. I never wanted to fit in, Ethan. I wanted my daughter to remember who loved her before there was a diamond on her finger. They hung up. A few weeks passed. Emily didn't call. Diane did. She offered me a blank check if I'd stop causing problems in their marriage. I smiled and said, Diane, you spent thousands on a cruise. Maybe save the check for when Emily needs her next place. Then, on a rainy Tuesday, I got a knock at the door. It was Emily, soaked, alone, her makeup smeared, no diamond ring in sight. Ethan left, she whispered. He said he couldn't be with someone who couldn't handle her own mother. I opened the door. I didn't come for pity, she added. I came to return this. She held out the hairbrush. I saw the receipt on the floor. You deserved more. So much more. And I don't know why I forgot that. I took the brush, sat it on the table, and said, Sit. I'll make tea. That night, I told her about every deed, every house, every bit of money I'd saved so she'd never feel how poor we once were. She listened. She cried. Why didn't you ever tell me? Because love, I said, isn't loud, but betrayal is. She nodded, and for the first time in years, I saw my daughter. Not the version Diane molded, not the woman who forgot me, but the little girl who used to draw Mother's Day cards with crooked hearts and sticky glue. And that's when I knew. I didn't need revenge. I already had everything I needed. But they were just learning what they'd lost. The next few weeks unfolded like a quiet healing. Emily stayed with me in the guest room, the same room she'd once painted lilac when she was 10 and insisted on calling her castle. It still had faded stars on the ceiling. We left them there. Every morning we drank coffee together. Not out of obligation, but from choice. She started asking about my life again, about Dad, about the businesses, about the struggles she'd forgotten while trying so hard to impress people who never cared. One afternoon, she stood in the hallway holding a box. This was in Ethan's office, she said. It's everything. Inside were printed emails, receipts, messages from Diane. Turns out the cruise and ring had come with strings. She helped him secure funding for a second mortgage on your house. Without telling me, Emily admitted. That's how they paid for her Mother's Day package. I was just the excuse. I didn't say anything. I just walked to the drawer, pulled out the notarized lease agreement with the rent they'd refused to pay, and handed it to her. He wanted to sell the house, she said quietly, to pay back a debt. I overheard him talking to a realtor. That house was never his to sell, I said. It was yours, if you just remembered who you were. Tears welled up in her eyes. What do I do now? You start over, I replied. Without a man who used you, without a woman who replaced me in your heart, and maybe with yourself. She nodded. That night, she handed me a small envelope. Early birthday card, she whispered. Inside was a note, handwritten in messy cursive like when she was little. Mom, I'm sorry for losing my way. I'm sorry for brushing you aside, literally. I gave Diane gifts to earn her love, but I forgot the woman who gave me everything for free. This is the first of many apologies, and hopefully, of better days to come. A week later, Emily went to court and removed Ethan's name from the business they co-owned. He tried to threaten her, but I sat in the front row of that hearing, dressed in the same blazer I wore the day I bought my first property. The judge recognized my name on the deed records, and that was that. She also filed to have Diane removed from the board of a local charity she helped fund, using evidence from those emails. It turns out Diane had been skimming donation perks for herself. The news made the local papers. Philanthropist mother-in-law under fire for fraud. Emily smiled when she read it. Later that summer, Emily surprised me. We walked into a cozy little restaurant near the lake. All our old neighbors were there. The banner read, "Late Mother's Day for the one who deserved the first one." I cried. Not from bitterness, but because she had remembered me, without needing guilt or wealth or even revenge. She handed me a small velvet box. Inside was a bracelet, not diamonds, not gold, but a simple charm bracelet with tiny symbols. A house, a heart, a book, a cup of tea. "I couldn't afford a cruise," she whispered, "but I wanted to give you the places you built, the love you gave, the peace you created." And then she added, "Also, I threw the brush away. I'm sorry." I laughed. For the first time in years, I truly laughed. Sometimes justice doesn't come with explosions. It comes with silence, sincerity, and the strength to stand tall when you've been humiliated. I didn't buy revenge. I built dignity. Because while they gave cruises and diamonds to strangers, I gave roots and love. And in the end, that's what lasts. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.